The Nerd and Tie podcast is unsurprisingly a part of the Nerd and Tie podcast network. For more podcasts from actual play to true crime to witchcraft, go to nerdandtie.com or join our Discord by finding an invite at nerdandtie.com/discord. Did you know you could sponsor Nerd and Tie? That's right, for just $20, we'd say your name here. We'd say how cool you are. We'd tell you how kickin' you look in those jeans. Just go to nerdandtie.com and click on the sponsor information and find out more. And maybe one day I'll say your name right here. I mean, I guess I just said I would do that. You know what to do. Do the thing.
On this month's Nerd and Tie, the Ryan Kopf lawsuit is dismissed. TwitchCon had something truly horrible happen in its foam pit. Gundam is back and extremely gay. She-Hulk finishes up, as does Rings of Power. We enter a brand new era of Doctor Who, and, of course, the Vomit Hat Steve Challenge. All on this month's Nerd and Tie. Ooh.
Exciting.
It's extremely exciting.
And none of those things for the Mario trailer.
Yeah, I was actually just before, so listeners won't realize this, but before we started recording, Trey did a Mario voice, and I was like, we didn't put the Mario trailer on.
Yeah,
I
was like, wait, Luigi, what?
I have a habit of going, here we go, before I hit record.
Yeah, and then I was just like, Mario movie. Wait a second, that dropped.
It's like, yeah,
we
Mario
should talk about the trailer.
Do we want to do that like as a palate cleanser after the? I mean, I guess we're starting with good news one way or the other, but
yeah, I don't know. Here, Mario trailer. Jack Black Bowser, yay! Chris Pratt Mario. I mean, it's kind of Lou Albino-ish, so there isn't, an established canon for that in Mario animation. So
it's, I would say it's okay. Granted, we've only heard like a line.
I mean,
so
look,
I need to hear more.
He's not Charles Marinette. He's not. It sucks, but this isn't
it's
like
not great. But
this isn't like Sonic. Actors have a union, unlike the visual effects people. You can't force them to go redo it.
Yeah.
Being realistic about bullying is our fearless leader, Trey Dorn.
It's oh yeah, we should introduce ourselves.
Being realistic about the bullying of unions is Trey Dorn. Why should we talk about unions some more? It's a them, Trey. Double dashing in the back seat of Trey's cartoonish go-kart. My friend and yours, Genjamin Proc.
Wow! Because of course I'd be a toad.
This is, oh my god, that's so appropriate, and I never thought about it. Have you done a Toad cosplay?
No.
I feel like we need to fix this now.
I feel like you need a giant Toad hat.
Die.
That's we've killed Gen. I don't.
And coping with the loss of... Oh, okay, good. I was worried I was going to have to cope with the loss of Gen. All right. And of course, here I am, Celeste, the host who still can't get over Princess Daisy almost entirely because my first Mario game was Super Mario Land for the Game Boy. So that's where she made her first appearance.
Look, it's interesting that you can tell there's a whole generation of people that didn't grow up with the Super Mario Brothers Super Show complaining about Mario not having an Italian accent.
Oh, that's true.
Like, that's just like, it was weird for me when the N64 Mario 64 came out and Mario did have an Italian accent. You know?
It's that thing of it's that thing that comes with like every time you have an iconic character and they get recast, like how are you going to cope with it? And there's a plethora of issues that you need to wonder about, like is this stunt casting because we want to get these Hollywood names? Is this screwing over union voice actors who the studio doesn't want to pay what they're worth? It's always weird when that comes up.
I mean, it's stunt casting. It's 100% stunt casting. It's they want to get they think Pratt will be a big enough name to get people in seats, and I don't think the studio necessarily realized the growing backlash against Chris Pratt, but it's
I don't think they needed to. My take is I don't think they needed to do that.
I would say, I feel like Mario could sell tickets pretty easy on his own.
I know, but it's you're thinking like a rational person, not a studio exec.
That's true.
So, on the other hand, like Jack Black being such an amazing character actor means that Bowser is going to be great, and we're all going to root for the bad guys.
I'm gonna love Jack
I have
Black.
friends who are gonna see that movie solely for Bowser.
I'm kind of excited for Charlie Day as Luigi, but I mean Charlie Day playing a loud coward,
Yeah, I mean
that's
great.
It's.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Aesthetically, I really think the trailer looks pretty.
It's
I really like
does.
the animation.
It does.
It's really beautiful.
I'm kind of this is my kind of process on the Mario trailer is that I don't care. Look, I love Mario games. I grew up with Super Mario Brothers. I'm like if it sucks, I just won't see it. It's
true.
I waited until after everyone told me the Sonic movie was good because I was like already of that opinion of like I don't care about this thing.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that.
It's as good a Sonic movie as you could make.
Okay. Yeah, no, my sister-in-law really liked it, so I don't know. Maybe I've got Paramount Plus. Maybe I'll pull it up sometime.
Yeah, it's worth it. But
I believe it. It's understandable that we all love our Nintendo to a certain extent, but like we have reasons to not be excited about this movie. The actual first thing on our docket, we have so much reason to be excited.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the stuff we actually said we were going to talk about instead of just inserting the Mario trailer at the beginning because we all forgot about it. Actually, I think it's a bigger statement about the Mario trailer that we all forgot about it.
Yeah.
Until I did a voice before we hit record, until I did an impersonation of Charles Martinet's Mario. All right, so yes, after fucking 6 years, a judge has dismissed the lawsuit against myself, former Nerd and Tie contributor, Firsters, and Nerd and Tie.
Big win for us.
Ryan Kopf has been suing us since... oh, God. So he filed the first lawsuit in Iowa back in the December of 2015, and that case was dismissed in spring of 2016, and he refiled in the middle of 2016. He refiled the suit in the state of Illinois, and we have been dealing with this for for over 6 years.
There have been 3 different presidents of the United States during the time that this suit has been going on.
Yeah.
I just want to...
Yeah. So...
Not full terms, but still.
So, yeah, it's... the judge dismissed the case for failure to prosecute. So the case is gone, and... it's... We're no longer being sued, everybody.
Yeah, that's very big. This... Trey, I don't know. We talked a little bit before the show because I know there's a lot we still can't say right now.
Yeah.
But could you quick explain to the audience what failure to prosecute means?
Okay. So we were at a point in this case, and actually we've been at this point for a while, for quite some time, because we were at this point 2 years ago, where the case had to go to trial, and Kopf's because Kopf is the plaintiff, he needed to actually finish moving this case to trial. Like, we had done depositions, we had done like discovery stuff. We were bracing to go to trial, and we were ready for it. But what it takes then, though, is, and obviously I'm not a lawyer, I know what my lawyer has explained to me, but this is also, a conversation I had like a couple of years ago. But this is the point we're in. And so Kopf needed to move it forward. And of course, obviously, when, things go to trial, a lot of stuff goes public record and all that fun stuff. And like I've said this entire time, I stand behind the articles that we have published, that there was no defamation in any of them. Everything we published was either 100% fact or protected speech. It was opinion protected speech. So anything that went up on nerdandtie.com, I stand behind 100%. And that's why this entire lawsuit was ridiculous. And
right.
It's so, yeah. So it does feel like, so we were sitting here waiting for years for Kopf to do something, for Kopf to move this forward. And so, and it takes a lot for a judge to dismiss something for failure to prosecute, because you literally can just file something saying, we're going to do it. Like, so, it is vindicating that, because again, as I have maintained this entire time, we did not defame anybody in these cases. So in this case, and none of our articles were defamatory. So, we're finally done with this mess that has, like, I had way more hair when this started.
And just, big thank you to everyone who stuck with us for this whole process.
Absolutely. The support we've seen from the community has been tremendous, and it's kept us going. It's obviously, we want to thank everybody who contributed to the GoFundMe that helped pay for our legal defense. Because without the support of the community, like, lawsuits are very expensive. And besides people who gave to our GoFundMe and people who contributed directly to that, the support this community showed, that it's willing to stand up to bullies, is just remarkable. And we are grateful for every single one of you who has helped make sure that our voice is heard. And we want to help make sure that your voices are heard. Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. Huge thank you.
I'm pretty sure that's all I could say about that.
Yep, and that's really good. I'm very happy that's something else to put behind us. Unfortunately, not every thing that people put behind them can be a good experience. Sometimes horrible things happen. Sometimes horrible things happen at big profile events. So, how do you guys feel about ball pits or foam pits?
Well, it sure would have been nice if it was an actual foam pit and not just a bunch of foam blocks put on top of a concrete floor.
Yeah, well, apparently that wasn't something that they thought about at TwitchCon. Oof.
Yeah, so at TwitchCon, Lenovo, so TwitchCon, the official, Twitch convention run by Twitch.tv, took place earlier this month, and there was a foam pit put together by Lenovo as part of their booth, I think, and they had kind of like an American Gladiator style jousting thing, but the pit surrounding the two platforms was only reportedly about 2 feet deep in most parts, and it was just sitting on top of a mat on top of a concrete floor.
Yikes.
because of this, most people see a foam pit. Usually foam pits are significantly deeper and are on will have like a trampoline underneath them. But they are designed to be able to jump into safely if they are done correctly. Well, this was not done correctly, and because of that, there have been reports of multiple injuries, including I might mispronounce her last name, but streamer Adriana Chechik broke her back jumping into the pit after winning a bout. She has had surgeries. It is not great.
That's legitimately horrifying.
Yeah, it's I know that she was in surgery right afterwards for 5.5 hours. And she's going to be in recovery for possibly years. And but other people also jumped into the pit. There's one other streamer who broke an ankle, I think. It is not good. Yeah, the streamer Locke Van Ness jumped off and rolled her ankle, and then
oh man,
and dislocated her kneecap. And
see when Gen first sent us this article, I actually had trouble finishing it because it was just kind of visceral. Oof.
Yeah, there's a Kotaku piece which rounded up quite a few incidents, and so we won't spare you the full details of every person who got injured. Obviously, Adriana Chechik had the worst injury out of all of them. And it's Twitch has been pretty silent on the matter. They have mostly deflected, saying it was Lenovo's pit. Although I will say that the convention did allow Lenovo to set that up, so I feel like the convention is, and we can say this is people who have run conventions. that convention organizers do bear some responsibility in the safety precautions of what they allow to be set up at their event. Lenovo has said that they are investigating the situation with Twitch, but they have not really put out any other official statements, which is not surprising if they're worried about legal repercussions. Chechik has said that she hasn't really heard anything from Twitch or Lenovo. At least that was as of on the 15th. So that was 10 days ago.
My guess is that both are going to stay super quiet and try to push this under the rug.
Yeah, I'm honestly this is just this is negligence.
Why? Why? What? Lenovo, why did you think this was a good idea? Twitch, why did you allow them to do this?
Yeah.
It's on both of them. If you're going to do something like that, why do you not have proper safety features? Why are you not telling everybody who goes into that foam pit arena that hey, it's only 2 feet deep. So be careful. I'm really wondering about the people there.
Well, the problem is
running the thing.
It's not just that it's 2 feet deep, but that the platforms are elevated. There was actually another booth at that same con that had a similar foam pit, but they had their platforms were pretty much level with the top of the foam, so it was a much shorter fall. And then they had smaller foam blocks, which makes a huge difference because it actually means the pit ends up being denser with padding than the larger blocks at the Lenovo. And surprisingly, nobody hurt themselves at the other one, even though, but it also here's the thing is that when you put a raised platform over a foam pit, you have to kind of jump down versus the other one you could step down into.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I really question the people the booth planners at Lenovo.
Yeah. This is
and it's just really disappointing. It's just so disappointing because it seems like a fun idea, and yet like when you execute it poorly, you end up hurting a bunch of people.
Yeah, it ends up being incredibly dangerous. Yeah.
And of course TwitchCon is partly responsible. I mean, I've seen so many conventions have rules for freaking artist alley displays
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
because there's a tendency, if they're really, really tall, they can get pushed over accidentally by attendees
Yeah.
who are like reaching over to grab stuff, and the whole thing just wonk.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, dude, like double check what your vendors are doing for their booths. Like,
Yeah.
get a rough
Well,
idea.
I mean, that would require Twitch to care about streamers.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Jesus. Yeah, that's...
It's really disappointing on all fronts.
It's bad. It's really bad.
I mean, I'm fine in the knowledge that I don't think I'll ever go to TwitchCon.
I wasn't planning to before.
I don't know.
but,
Well,
yeah,
I wasn't
this
planning
isn't
to before,
exactly,
if
isn't
they're
exactly
letting
selling
people
it very well.
get hurt willy nilly at their con, then it helps that I'm not a streamer anyways, so don't care.
Fair.
Not for me.
Hard same. I like me my scripted content.
I have streamed on other platforms, but not Twitch.
But anyways.
Yeah, there's got to be something happier out there. Oh wait, there totally is. The next thing on the docket.
We're gonna let Celeste talk about Gundam.
We're gonna let me talk about Gundam because I'm just... the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise has returned to television again, with an interesting project that has come forward. The full title of this series is Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. Now, this has been a project that the good folks at Sunrise have been working on since roughly 2018, when some of the producers started noticing that when they asked Japanese teenagers what they thought of the Gundam franchise, their response was, "Oh, that's for old people. It's not for us."
So you have to understand, so the Witch from Mercury, that's like not quite as good as the Sorcerer from Lincoln, but better than the Wizard from Ford, right?
I would say about, yeah, in that range.
God, that joke. The longer that Mercury cars don't exist, the less that joke is going to make sense to anybody.
Well, after all of this time, boy oh boy, I feel specifically pandered to. Now, months ago, we knew for sure that the main character was going to be a girl. A first for Gundam. We've never had a young lady protagonist in an almost 50-year-old franchise. That's embarrassing.
That is both embarrassing and wholly unsurprising. It's Gundam.
Yeah.
But color me just tickled when we had a really dark, now I wasn't quite tickled by the prologue episode was really strong, but it was also really sad and like pretty heavy Gundam fare. So colored me tickled when the first episode premiered 4 weeks ago now, and it's Utena but with Gundams. Right down to we have the main character, Sleda Mercury, is going to a fancy preparatory school that orbits the planet Earth. This school is run by several families of space-based military contractors.
She pulls a sword out of the headmaster's sister's chest.
Kind of. The school is actually run by the guy the head of the organization that these capitalist oligarchy all answer to, and whichever Mobile Suit Duelist holds the rank of holder gets to marry the president's daughter. So after our main character Sleda sees the current person with the title of holder being shitty to the president's daughter, not knowing who she is or what she has agreed to, she gets into a mobile suit battle and wins the president's daughter's hand in marriage.
Setai hunde moku
Moku
shiroku.
Shiroku Zetai.
Moku. God,
So yeah, like we've got the Utena vibes, but we also
I
have
haven't
this
watched
like
shooting it in so long.
Yeah, same.
it's still so good. I love it. I still love it. We've got it just got the Utena vibes, but it's also got the class consciousness vibes. Like
Does the president ever jump on the hood of his car?
Not yet, but he's also like
Okay.
an elderly man, so
That's
that
true.
would be
We've got to get through the
really-
Black Rose saga before we get to that.
What I will say though is it's also kind of leaning into some modern stuff. Like I said, military contractor oligarchs who have all moved to space. Well, meanwhile, people on Earth who are noticeably like the people who they show from Earth, the kids who are whose parents live in space, treat them like second-class citizens because they're poor, and noticeably like the people from Earth have more varied body types and skin colors, while the rich oligarchs are largely pretty pale except for this one tan kid. This last episode, we even see that said oligarchs use those military-grade combat mecha for breaking up peaceful protests on Earth by that are being led by unions, like as in like labor unions. And the character who I thought I was going to like is even cooler than I thought she'd be, because she is a union girl through and through, who is like, on one hand, she looks all cute and fluffy, except her mech looks really badass, and when people bully the main character, she just beats the piss out of them with her fists and forgoes the mech entirely. I don't know. This is a really interesting show. It's been fun I've been seeing people who have never had an interest in Gundam before, like talking to me about it and getting into it. Including friends of the show, Ethan F., one of our regulars, and one of our Stormwood co-hosts, Kyle, has also gotten into it recently.
Cool.
So I'm ecstatic. Gundam is in a weird new direction, and it's socially conscious.
And
it's got space lesbians. It's everything I wanted and more.
And how much are a certain faction of the Gundam traditional fans angry about it?
That's where it's been weird. Okay, we gotta delve into this one a little bit, because that's been very strange. There were some fans, the older straight het fans especially, who were very vocal after the first episode. I haven't heard them as much after the first one. I don't know if it's just that they gave up on it. I don't know if it's that the the right-wing anime grifters who were able to trick dumb Vic Mignogna fans into giving them money, if they just realized that being fake fans of Gundam was too hard to pull off. Because there's like almost 50 years of like 7 different alternate universes of continuity, so it's harder to pretend that you're like
I do expect this will be the new gatekeeping thing, though. Like because I think we're going to see some gatekeeping, but like in the way that we saw gatekeeping around Gundam when Gundam Wing was on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's well, it's one of the problems with Gundam. Every time there's a new AU, every time we get a new alternate universe, we get these gatekeepy shitheads.
But it's you're just into the new one. You don't watch Universal Century, like.
Yeah, exactly. I think what
you're not a real Gundam fan. You don't watch real Gundam.
I think what hurt the culture war grifters as well is that they jumped on the gay characters angle right off the bat, which is not a strong place to argue from, since the creators of the original show said that it was the BL fans that kept the show on in the first place. Like, literally the first piece of fan service in any piece of Gundam media ever is Char Aznable showering in his male college best friend's room. And it's like a tiny room. And there's like no like reason that he should just be
that.
yeah, again, you can back me up on this.
Oh,
There's
no,
no
Celeste, there's a reason.
heterosexual
Yeah, I was gonna say
that
there's no
he should be-
heterosexual reason.
there's no heterosexual reason that he should be naked and showering in this man's small apartment. It's very noticeable.
Yeah.
Like, it's-
Yay.
so like, I'm sorry, like queer Gundam fans, we have been with
Gundams for the queers.
Yeah.
Condoms for the queers.
It gave me an excuse to. I'll wrap this up on this. The other fun thing is that it did give me an excuse to dig out something that I found from a 19, I want to say either late 70s, more likely early 80s Gundam fanzine, and it was done by a fan artist that claimed to be male. At least we couldn't get the full crediting on the artist who did this illustration, but it was Char Aznable and his harem, and it's just Char surrounded by a bunch of the boys from the show. Looking, it's very good. It's one of the first pieces of fan art printed in a Gundam fanzine, and it's like, yeah, the Fujos have always been part of this fandom. We've been the lifeblood. We were publishing the fanzines. It's kind of nice to finally have it as text instead of subtext.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. So yeah, Gundam the Witch from Mercury. It's only 4, technically 5 episodes in if you count that prologue. So now is the time to jump on it. It's a whole lot of fun.
And where can they find it?
So the prologue and the first episode are free streaming on YouTube right now. And the I think the main series is right now exclusively on Crunchyroll. So not my preferred place for streaming, but it is legally streaming there every Sunday. Slutta Sunday, join me. Cheer for this stuttering doofus as she Utanas her way through Gundam.
Heck yeah.
What's the name of the show again?
Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. It's super worth your time. Oh, also the robot fights are real good.
I love how that's the afterthought.
That's my afterthought. It's also the robot fights are real good, you guys. Just the Well, like the characters and the political commentary are just so strong that like the robots are almost like the cherry on top of what is already like an excellent sundae. As all good mech anime should be, honestly. But speaking of things that were exciting and but in this case it was fun from beginning to end. Hey, She-Hulk just wrapped up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
I
It was
really
better than I
enjoyed
thought.
that show.
Yeah, although it was funny watching the Legal Eagle episode about She-Hulk because like they got almost every legal thing in the show wrong. But as a television show, it is quite enjoyable. I pretty much would pay to watch Tatiana Maslany read a phone book. It's
Tatiana Maslany was so charming, and
I will say
really
I
likable
love
in
the
that
show.
role.
The most unbelievable part of the entire show is that no one wants to date Tatiana Maslany.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was I love the show, but part of the whole thing was like her dating life of like having trouble finding a guy, and like I'm like you're telling me that the adorable Tatiana Maslany can't get anyone to go out with her?
Yeah,
What?
that weird thing of Hollywood attractive is always one of those things. Like,
Mhm.
oh, that's okay, that's
I mean,
fine.
it played into the story.
Oh, I know, it's
Yeah.
fine. It
But
worked. It
yeah,
worked
it's
fine.
just
But I
like,
was just like, I don't feel like I have to suspend my disbelief for like the punching through walls, but I have to suspend my disbelief for that. That's you know
That's
what
fair.
um yeah, like it overall I think it was pretty great. And I know that like some people didn't like the full Blazing Saddles ending, but I thought it was
I loved that ending.
awesome.
I was really grateful for it. I'm one of these people who gets like so wrapped up in like the character, and I get so concerned for them
Yeah.
that if something if something goes wrong for them, I have to like leave the room because I get so stressed out for them.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want you to be happy.
I will say the funny thing is that so and on Honest Trailers pointed this out that you know, she makes the joke about how all Marvel movies end with like the big culminating fight. But Honest Trailers pointed out, but actually you're in a Marvel series where they all end with someone exiting into some sort of like alternate reality space and having a conversation with a godlike figure.
Oh.
Which is exactly what happened in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Dang
it's
it.
fair. And like that's part of what I like honest trailers for is that they'll point out stuff like that without being dickheads about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That said, the self-awareness of like one of making fun of the fact that yeah, it does sometimes feel like these Marvel movies are coming off an assembly line. So like what if there is like a robot that oversees it? That was very funny.
Well, they turned Kevin Feige into Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the fact that they kind of gave him his hat too in the
That
design of
was
the
very
robot.
good.
That was cute.
Character design wise.
And had him exist in kind of that fake monitor wall that they always do, like they would do like events on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that was I enjoyed it a lot.
I think the yellow costume is probably my favorite of the Daredevil costumes they've given Charlie Cox.
I like
Like
the
I'm saying
I like,
that completely
yeah,
sincerely.
I like the
I
red
really
one.
like the yellow one.
I like the red one, but the yellow one gave them the excuse to get him out there for the storyline, and so like, I didn't think it looked bad, so I don't mind it. I think it is a good way to mark the Disney era because you know, of Daredevil because they got to be a little bit more flexible with them. Like it's so Daredevil's like action stuff is super grounded in the Netflix series, right? Like
Yeah.
but his acrobatics got to be much more comic book like in She-Hulk. Like the way he was like flipping around the side of the building is far more than they would have done ever in the Netflix show, but very much akin to the way Daredevil will like flip around and move in the comics. So I think it's a nice way. It feels,
and it's been long enough since we've seen this version of Matt that I was able to be like, oh yeah, he must have been working on his.
oh
flips
no,
and stuff.
I'm all for it.
Like,
I think
yeah,
it's great. I think of it like when I think of it like comics where like, you know,
Right.
someone did a run for a few years on the comic and that's what that looked like, and then now this is the character showing up in someone else's run. And so there are slight differences in the way that they will talk. There are slight differences in the way that they'll move and or the way that they, you know, their action is focused. But as long as the core of the character is still true to what was before, you move with it. And that's, I think that very much like is a great fit. And so that's why I'm excited about Daredevil Born Again. And
yeah, I'm also excited,
especially
for it.
after seeing this, because it's like between that and his appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home, like I'm really glad that they fully embraced the Netflix part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And because it's ironic that, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tried to incorporate itself into the MCU, and that ultimately is why the later seasons can't work in the MCU at all.
Yeah.
Because they weren't given the information to keep going, but the Netflix shows do because they were so isolated from the rest of the MCU. And which is why it's easier to slide them in. I like to think that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. later seasons take place in the universe that the alternate Thanos left. in
I'm
Endgame.
willing to buy that.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
I really like the I have just enjoyed in general with the Marvel TV shows, with an exception for mainly Loki, that the stakes have been a lot lower. Like I've just kind of enjoyed these like lower stakes kind of finales.
Yeah.
I'm kind of here for it.
Because like it's really nice just to have like a happy, fluffy ending for once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like everything's going good for a hot second.
Yeah, it's I've got my it's I've figured out I'm figuring out work-life balance between superheroing and my law job, or my family accepts me for my superhero nonsense.
Well, it's because they legitimately made a sitcom this time around. Like on purpose made a sitcom.
Smart.
Yeah.
And can I just say, her dad, I love him so much.
Yeah.
Her dad was great.
Guy
one of my favorite
guy
characters.
from Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, that.
It's so good.
Her coworkers were really great too. I liked everyone at the law office. They're well, maybe not her bosses, but like all the like other lawyers and paralegals that she hung out with were just really good characters, all in all. Even the joke in the last episode when they have to coach the one doofus guy in the office to go undercover at the intelligentsia meeting, and it's like, you have to refer to women as females. I'm not comfortable with this.
Yeah, I know.
Like he's too good.
Oh, I love that actor so much. God.
And like when we found out he was secretly like obsessed with sneakers.
Oh, he's a sneakerhead?
Yes. Yeah. He's a total sneakerhead, and it's just like I love those little like, you know, tidbits of flavor.
Yeah, he played.
Yeah, that was very good.
So it's real fun. So that actor, fun fact, played Adrian Chase in Arrow.
I knew I recognized him from somewhere. Boy, speaking of two wildly different versions of the same C-list comic book character on TV, like
yeah, it's God, he's been in like so many other stuff though. Like but he also was on Orange Is the New Black, which is, you know, more like it's just the range, and then like he was on. Okay, Sirens is what I immediately think of, the American remake of Sirens, and no one watched that. But yeah, he's just like he's a great actor, and like the whole She-Hulk had an amazing cast overall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and Tim Roth just returning as Abomination was just phenomenal.
Yes, I really enjoyed how they handled Abomination.
And
that was.
It is
and Wong.
It is funny because like it really does prove how well the cinematography was in the Incredible Hulk movie, that they made Tim Roth look big and intimidating before he was Abomination. Tim Roth is a tiny man. He's a tiny man.
I hate to like not to rip on the hard work that the computer animators surely did with the Hulk movie, but I honestly thought Tim Roth was scarier and more threatening when he just had the super soldier serum before he got all hulked out in that movie. Unpopular opinion.
Tim Roth is only 5'7".
The guy. He's silly sized. Oh my gosh.
He's a tiny man. He's a great actor.
He's small.
Tiny man. He's like my mom's height.
He's silly sized. Holy crap.
I mean, I don't think he's very small, but
again,
that's because I'm only 5 feet tall.
You're a halfling.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Again, you are like the closest thing we have to a real world Hobbit.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You know,
like you do it well.
Speaking of hobbits,
Yeah, speaking of hobbits and stuff, that's another show that just wrapped up.
Yeah, Rings of Power.
Amazon's
Yeah,
Rings of Power wrapped up.
and yeah.
Go ahead.
The finale was so okay. Am I the only one here who's actually watched the finale?
No, I've watched it.
Okay,
I really enjoyed it.
I will say that Rings of Power managed to pull. They fake out twisted us once, and that like got me. I was like, ooh, ooh. And then they reel the. God, I'm trying to not spoil it, but needless to say, Sauron is in the first season, and you do not find out exactly how until the last episode of the season. And they try to fake you out by making you think that this character who's shown up is Sauron, but he is not.
It's somebody else.
Yes.
What a twist!
But the twist. But it's also like it. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but it felt like it was going to be a cheap twist to make it this one character, and they almost make you think they're doing that, and then they don't, and so it's like a relieved thing that they didn't do the cheap thing. They actually are, yeah. But I don't want to actually spoil that for anyone who hasn't watched it yet. Overall, though, Rings of Power was remarkably good.
I stand by what we said last episode, which is the legitimate reason to not watch the show. You don't like Jeff Bezos and don't want to support Amazon. I completely understand.
100%. We understand that.
Other reasons I don't think hold up. I think this was a really strong and fun show. I enjoyed every episode. I thought the action sequences were really well choreographed. I thought that it was tense and exciting. There's an episode where an elf cries about cutting down a tree, and the big twist of the episode involves maps. I mean, I don't know if it gets more Tolkien than that.
Yeah. I think the writing's been good, the acting's been good, the costuming has been rushed.
Yeah, the costuming is like when it comes to like my issues other than the Amazon thing, yeah, it's nitpicks. It's the costuming wasn't always up to par.
Yeah, they don't have the production time. The visual effects look good though, and yeah, it's overall, it's very enjoyable. And
there was one guy in Numenor where I was just like, oh my god, you just bought like a Roman toga from Spirit Halloween. What is going on here, man? That bummed me out, sure. But other than that, I thought the story made up for it. I really enjoyed it. Especially I especially liked Nori and Galadriel. They were definite standouts for me in terms of just good characters. Needs more Poppy. Poppy was fantastic. I actually was kind of, a friend of mine from college and I were talking about it, and we kind of had an idea of where the Sauron twist was going. I was almost disappointed by it because I kind of thought they might do it, but then the execution was so strong that I couldn't complain about it.
It didn't even occur to me, and then it was revealed. So that's like, I was...
Okay.
Because I was distracted going the other direction that I thought it was going to go. Like, I thought they were going to do the cheap twist that, like... Yeah, I don't feel like it is a spoiler, but okay, so there's a character who most of us have been convinced is Gandalf.
Mm-hmm.
Although, if it is Gandalf, he won't get that name for some time anyways. So,
yeah.
But, because that's the name the dwarves give him. And they try to, like, I was suspicious that he might actually be Sauron the entire season.
I can understand that.
Well, because also the character has no memories. It doesn't seem to have any memories when he shows up.
Yeah.
So it's like, and he is not Sauron. I'm pretty certain he's Gandalf, but
I mean, judging by his actions in the last episode, it's fairly safe to assume
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also present for halflings singing a song that kind of becomes where the refrain is kind of the line Gandalf is most famous for. So there's at least a connection.
Yeah.
Like
It makes a lot of sense for that character to be Gandalf. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So we would not be surprised.
Yeah. So it's overall, I think Rings of Power is about as good as we could expect to get out of a Lord of the Rings television series that can't access the Silmarillion.
That's what a lot of these fans have to remember. Like,
it was a good ride. I'm looking forward to season 2. Plus, it gave me the joke, holy crap, Jeff Bezos can't afford the Silmarillion, which I don't know why. Just every time I say that, it makes me really happy.
This is, although, you know what? Sorry, Ken, you go.
Oh, no, it's not just the Silmarillion. It's the Silmarillion, the Unfinished Tales, the entire, like, history that was made. It's like a 5-volume set of the entire history of Middle Earth. Like, they don't have access to any of that.
They just have access to the appendices and they can mention like stuff from the Silmarillion. They just can't show it to us. Like it's like they can acknowledge
there's a lot
focusing
in those
on
appendices.
the rings and not the Silmarils.
Yeah,
which is fine. Because that's a good story, too.
But also, the first stage was a silly time, and we don't want to see that.
Yeah, don't get me started on shenanigans of the first stage.
We will be in our second age, and it'll be fine.
Yes.
You also get the bonus of, because Tolkien didn't go into too much detail of the second age, it gives the writers some leeway, which I think is kind of a blessing in its own right.
Yarp.
Well, and plus the writers, have wanted to make this feel super Tolkienian. And have, I mean, it sounds like they've been doing a great job of just trying to keep it really Tolkienian.
Yeah, it's
instead of giving it lots of other random crap and whatnot.
Yeah, literally my only problems this season have been like hair and makeup and costumes, which, that they're nitpicks. Like the show itself is really good. To be fair, this is like one of the most expensive shows ever made. Amazon is spending a crap ton of money on this. It is probably going to lose them a ton of money.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Oh well.
Unfortunately for the show. Not
for unfortunately
fine
for the show.
For me.
Yeah, I don't care if Jeff Bezos loses.
Bleed Bezos dry. Bleed Bezos dry.
As much as I enjoy Witch from Mercury, I don't actually want oligarchs in space making it horrible for us on Earth. So if we can avoid that future, that would be really great.
Coward. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're trying to keep it spoiler free, but I'm sure that like the three of us will talk more.
Yeah.
After the episode.
There's a lot to discuss. It's worth your time. Watch it. It's fun.
And if anybody's curious about Sauron like disguising himself, like that's a thing that like Sauron and Morgoth did a lot. and freaking Melkor was beautiful. I remember legit the evil guys in Tolkien are gorgeous looking.
You specifically brought that up to me again. Like before the show started, like a year before the show came out, you specifically brought that up to me. You're like, Sauron, if it's going to be young hot. Sauron, he's going to be hot. Just letting you know right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all we ever see in the, trilogy of movies is him like in his full armor, but like underneath that, it's a really hot guy. And they would switch up their looks, pretend to be other people, and get away with like I mean, this series is all about how Sauron gets into power.
Mm-hmm.
And like how Mordor is like formed and all that stuff so that when we get to Lord of the Rings, we can defeat him.
The founding of Mordor was the way that they handle it was so good because it was almost like clockwork. I remember saying to my partner as the episode was going, I'm like, these orcs are really cool, but I'm so used to orcs being like really technologically savvy, and it doesn't seem like they've done any like feats of engineering. And then the twist on the episode, it's like, oh God, I was wrong. Oh God, no, these are orcs. These are like, yeah, that's a feat of engineering, all right. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But a door is taller than any existing building on Earth.
On Middle Earth.
But okay, yeah, brings the power. Super good, super worth your time. But speaking of the ending of ages, the passing of ages.
Yeah, the final Jodie Whittaker special aired at the time of recording last night. On Sunday
Who.
the 23rd. Doctor Who, which marks the end of the Jodie Whittaker era and the end of Chris Chibnall's run as a showrunner on Doctor Who. And we're not going to get more Doctor Who for like a year now. But yeah, and it's so Chris Chibnall's run, I've had kind of mixed thoughts about it. Like it started like first off, I love Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. Right, I just want to be
Whittaker
really...
is never the problem. I'm gonna hard put that down right here.
Yeah, and her first season, I really liked her first season as the Doctor.
With an exception for the weak sauce Amazon episode, and I didn't like it because I thought it went too easy on Amazon or their fake Amazon. I thought it was way too milquetoast, liberal. Oh, just a little bit of reforming, and now they've got breaks, so it's better. That I didn't care for that. Other than that, I loved her first season. Like it made me excited to watch Doctor Who again. And I liked Peter Capaldi, but I've expressed this on the show before. Stephen Moffat really made it hard for me to enjoy Doctor Who for a while.
Yeah.
So I had to put it down. And it's nothing against you for enjoying it. I couldn't. It wasn't my cup of tea.
Like I enjoy. So here's the thing though. So I really enjoyed the first two seasons of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. Like I enjoyed seasons 11 and 12. Here's the thing. Season 13, that short 6-episode season we got in 2021, I didn't like it.
I haven't met anyone who's liked it.
It's
like I haven't gotten around to. I've started series 12 recently, and I'm enjoying it, but I have not watched any of Flux, as I believe.
So okay, so and let's be clear, I like the character Dan as a companion, and so like because at the end of series 12, two of the Graham and then two of the companions split off, and Yaz continues with the Doctor, and then they pick up Dan in season 13, and I like him a lot. And again, it's none of the problems the actors. It's the primary problem I had with Flux was that the villains were completely uncompelling. Like I don't mind the changes they made to the Doctor Who canon in season 12. I know some people were really bothered by that. But like the villains of season 13, like the Flux stuff, was just, they were not compelling. That never really it never really felt like anything fully developed in the whole season. Like I feel like, so other times we've done big stories, like even at the worst of Moffat, like I still feel like the overarching villains think that would be seeded throughout like a long period of time to let you sit with them. And so just like somehow, even though there were 6 episodes developed, like dedicated to this one villain, they still felt underdeveloped. And yeah, so I was not a big fan of that. So I will say, like, after watching, and we've had 3 specials that they've done since then, and they've been okay. Eva the Daleks was fine. Legend of the Sea Devils, I know a lot of people feel like it was kind of wasted. Like, the stories really didn't, like, go hard enough.
Friend of the show and casual Trek host Miles actually messaged me after he finished Eve of the Daleks, or not Eve of the Daleks, after he finished the Sea Devil
Legends
one.
Of the Sea Devils, yeah.
Yeah, he was heartbroken.
Yeah,
he was so disappointed with it.
Yeah.
And Miles is like Miles is a Doctor Who fan that puts every Doctor Who fan I know to shame. It's
yeah, he's such a big Doctor Who fan. He even pretends to be British.
I know, right?
Yeah, he's
Casual
from New
Trek's gonna
Berlin.
kill us.
Yeah, no, Miles is from New Berlin. The accent's fake.
Yeah, then the casual Trek hosts are going to kill us. It's I don't endorse this, Miles. Don't hurt me.
Anyways, so but The Power of the Doctor, which is his last special, it was, a 90-minute special, was actually pretty good. It wasn't perfect. They're like, it kind of culminates in the whole thing with like what the Master comes back. I don't think that's a big spoiler. With the earlier actions of the Master in his previous appearances in Chibnall's run, he kind of ties that together. And so it I think it was a fitting end to this era, and the Master's plan was needlessly complicated in ways that don't really make sense. I'm 100% certain that there's a whole part of it that takes place in like Imperial Russia, like with the Master having assumed the identity of Rasputin. And it 100% doesn't have anything to do with anything. It was completely unnecessary.
I'm gonna say it. Have any of the new series Masters, any of them, had a not overly complicated to the point that it doesn't really make sense plan?
Well, okay.
Like, I'm being very serious right now.
Yeah, but it does, like, for the first time since John Sims got the dance around, the whole reason why I think they put it is because they wanted to have the Master dance around to Boney M's Rasputin. And do a whole sequence to the Boney M song, which, to be fair, is amazing, and I'm willing to accept the stupid Rasputin part of the plan being there just to use that song in his moment of victory.
I can see that being... No, that seems in character for him.
Yeah. Well, I'm more thinking of the meta-analysis of the writers making the choice, but yes.
Yeah, but honestly, that seems in character for the Master, if I'm going to be super real with you. At least the new series Master. Yeah. All of them, honestly.
So it's so overall, like, I think it was a solid, like, it was a decent episode. We got to see some classic companions with Tegan and Ace, and I mean, who doesn't love Sophie Aldred as Ace? If you don't love Sophie Aldred as Ace,
there's the door.
She's gonna hit you with a bat. I guess that's what's gonna happen. Look out. But also we get to like because
Tegan Jovanka. I was happy Tegan's back.
Yeah, I like Tegan, but like honestly, Tegan's never been like, I know who Tegan is, but like Ace sticks out in my head. You know what I mean?
Most of my Ace is one of my Here's the thing. Ace is up there, like, she is like either on par with or higher than Jamie in terms of my favorite companions ever. Tegan has a soft spot for me because when I started watching Classic Who, most of what was at my local library were Fifth Doctor episodes with Tegan.
Yeah.
So she didn't really do much, but I have a big soft spot for her because my first Fifth Doctor serials were all Tegan serials.
Yeah, and we get like some really great, we get some great stuff in this episode. Like there is a portion that's in the Doctor's head where she's talking to like kind of this shifting figure that keeps switching between the face of the David Bradley playing the first Doctor, Colin Baker, Peter Davison, Paul McGann, and Sylvester McCoy as like shifting as like an inner version of herself, like that she's talking to, and all of them are wearing robes except for Paul McGann, and even comments of it, and he's like, it's just I'm not wearing a robe. It's like in the scene. It's pretty great.
I love that. I honestly love that.
Yeah,
that's really good.
And we all knew that because we knew this. We knew going into this at the end of the episode, she's gonna regenerate, right? It's like something's gonna happen in the story, like, and I don't think that's a spoiler because it's announced that this is her final episode as the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
There is a thing that I'm going to say now that is a spoiler, that if you've read any headlines about this episode, you've probably already had this spoiled for you, but on the off chance you've been avoiding the news about this special and you don't want to be spoiled, just stop listening to this episode right now, okay? Just stop. All right? All those people are gone? All right, so at the end of the episode, we all expected her to regenerate into Shudigatwa, right?
Mm-hmm.
She does not. She regenerates into David Tennant.
And I guess I'm not bothered by this at all.
Oh, I'm not.
Like, this is I've been seeing some people get really upset. I'm just in this, everything that I'm seeing, I'm kind of expecting this to be, I'm already expecting the 60th anniversary to be Russell T Davies, for those who don't know, the showrunner of series 1 through 4 and all of the specials that brought Doctor Who back, is coming back, and it really seems like he's leaning into this theme of just because he's back doesn't mean it's going to be the same show, and I think this is going to thematically tie into that meta commentary.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, so we've all known that David Tennant was coming back for the 60th anniversary special next year. And it's the implication that most people thought was that it was going to just be a multi-Doctor story. But canonically, what David Tennant is playing the 14th Doctor, and Shudigatwa will be the 15th Doctor, who we have seen shots. There is a shot in like kind of the small teaser they did, which looked like Shudigatwa in that mind space that Jodie Whittaker was in the episode. So I think that there's going to be a lot going on here, because we know that Catherine Tate's also coming back for the 60th. So we're going to get a David Tennant and Catherine Tate episode of Doctor Who next year, and I am very excited about that. I would just say, like, I was surprised, though. You know what I mean? I was not expecting it.
I'm not saying it's not surprising. I was surprised. I guess for me, and we kind of touched on this before recording, but it's hard for me to care about numbering of the Doctors anymore, just because I've mentioned this on the show before. It bothers me to the moon. I can't take the numbering seriously anymore, because again, the first time we ever see within the story Peter Capaldi on screen is someone yelling "No Sir 13" over his amazing eyebrows, and he's 12.
No,
and
it's all
always going to bother me.
No, the War Doctor was all 13 because there were 13 of them with the War Doctor there.
Yes, Trey, I can count. I understand that. I know. But that doesn't change the fact that we're just not counting. I get it. We're just not counting John Hurt, even though he redeemed himself. So why are we still not counting him? Oh, right, this is completely arbitrary.
Because of because when he's multiple versions of him, he doesn't have clear memories of the encounters.
And then Joe Martin comes in, and it's like, okay, this is even more arbitrary. I'm not even against Joe Martin. I like Joe Martin a lot. I'm just saying it is impossible for me to care about the numbering anymore.
I don't think anybody really cares about the numbering.
I think you're giving
No,
people way too much
I mean,
credit.
the reason why I just want to be clear that the reason why I'm talking about David Tennant is the 14th Doctor, because I think personality-wise we're going to see a difference between this and the 10th. You know what I mean? Like,
I could see that.
that's what I think they're doing is I think
Tennant's a good enough actor; he can pull that off.
right. I think his 14th Doctor is going to be different than his 10th Doctor, and that's why I think the number is important. In that case, just to iterate the difference between the two versions.
Not to dump on modern series doctors, but like I could see David Tennant pulling that off. I couldn't see like Matt Smith pulling that off. Like no.
I don't know. I think Matt Smith is a better actor than you're giving him credit for.
That might be the case, but boy oh boy, he's got the worst agent. Maybe up until getting him on that Game of Thrones thing, he has had the worst agent working today, I think, because it has just been. I have not been impressed with anything he's done outside of Doctor Who. It's just been embarrassing, if you ask me. Like,
really?
the Terminator. I didn't like the Terminator thing.
But
how do you end up in Morbius?
That was not a great script. I mean, again, like
how do you end up in Morbius though? It's not because you have a good agent. That's
oh,
for sure.
Actually, it's 100% because God, what's her name? Amy Pond, that actress.
God, why can I not remember her name? Because she's another actress where it's actually the opposite, where every time I see her in non-Doctor Who things, I'm like, Jesus.
Karen Gillan.
Yeah, Karen Gillan.
Karen Gillan talked him into doing it.
Because, like, when I see her in non-Doctor Who things, I'm like, Jesus Christ, they wasted her on Doctor Who.
No, she talked. What a
talent.
First off, I think Matt Smith is actually a talented actor, but that's not really, like, just him picking...
I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm saying I don't think he's as strong an actor as, like, a David Tennant or a Tatiana Maslany.
But also,
that's what I'm saying.
Right. Well, first off, there are very few people working today as good as Tatiana Maslany. All right, let's not if that's the standard we're going to hold every actor to, almost everybody fails. All right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a bad actor.
Right.
I'm saying I wouldn't trust him with that because I just don't think he has a strong enough presence.
Like, I think him is,
and
like,
maybe
like if you compare that to, like, but if, like, Matt Smith, like, like Morbius, he's playing that guy in Morbius who's, I've already forgotten his character name. But, like, you see him in, like, I know Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is not a great movie, but his performance as Parson Collins is actually pretty good.
I didn't even know he was in that.
He's supposed to be really good in Last Night in Soho. Like, it's like, I get it. I
mean, admittedly, his agent's doing better for him than Christopher Eccleston, who I'm very upset on behalf of all the time, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
I think Christopher Eccleston is a phenomenal actor. He is also, though, a bit of a snob.
Bit of a snob, kind of abrasive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, don't get me wrong. 9 is one of my favorite Doctors. Like, yeah, I love him as the Doctor. I will always love the 9th Doctor, but he's still himself. He was the perfect person to bring back the show, and it was also the perfect thing to have him regenerate at the end of the season, because that immediately got the new fans ready for the fact that, oh, this actor is going to change. Like,
yeah, that was smart on Russell Davies' part.
Especially since Eccleston said he would only do one season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways,
no, I wasn't trying to. What I was trying to imply is that I feel like Tennant is a strong enough actor that I would trust him to do a different version of the Doctor.
Right. And I guess what I was trying to say before, like, we got into this where you started complaining about numbers, which I don't think anybody really was talking about, was that
I think you're giving people too much credit if you.
No,
think
I meant we weren't, and then you brought it up because we talked about it before the show, but not During
You brought up numbers. I didn't bring it up before the show.
I brought it. I talked about it before the show a little bit, and then you. I did not bring it up during the show though. So you picked up that football and ran with it like a goalkeeper.
I picked up the football because I thought it was a dumb thing to pick up, but I was heading it off at the pass.
But I was saying
sorry.
is that I wasn't. What I was gonna say, what I was trying to say, was that I was shocked that they like. I actually was genuinely shocked that they had her regenerate into David Tennant and not Shudigatwa. Like I was ready for that, and like I knew that David Tennant was like. I was just assuming the 60th was going to be a multi-doctor story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because David Tennant, like, he's aged, but he still looks young enough, you know, that it's like I had thought that it would be this, you know, multi-doctor. And it's also like really interesting that like you have so many doctors in that episode of The Power of the Doctor, which
also nice vindication for the 4-ish doctors. That they finally got some love.
I thought it was the 5-ish doctors. But yeah.
Was it the 5-ish doctors?
Yeah, the 5-ish.
Okay, well, it was that special that they shot was delightful, and I'm glad that they kind of got vindicated.
Yeah, it's I genuinely love that, and like it's and now like I like the fact that they keep bringing back so David Bradley as the first Doctor now that they have this like. First Doctor lookalike, like this Hartnell lookalike.
He's doing better than Richard Herndl, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I love the 5 Doctors proper, but boy, oh boy.
Well, he does a better Hartnell. Yeah. It's, anyways, I think that's, but I'm excited for the next era of Doctor Who. I am glad that Chibnall went out on a strong episode.
Same.
Because I think the first two, I think his first 2 seasons were good. I think that, I think his first season was better than his second season, but I still think his second season was good. And that his third season I just was not a fan of, and the specials have been just kind of okay. So ending on a good one is
massive relief.
Yeah.
I loved Jodie Whittaker so much, and I'm sad that she's gone.
Right.
But that's the joy of Doctor Who. We treasure the time we get with these enjoyable characters, and then we know going in that we have to let them go. And that's
I just wish that like I just wish she'd had like some stronger writing in like her time, and you know,
extremely fair.
Yeah, but you know, it's we know that I'm excited for what comes next, even if we've got to wait a whole flippin' year.
It's okay.
Gotta wait a year, my friend. A year.
It's a year, but I feel like it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah, but we only got like 3 episodes this year.
Well, that's it. That's just
we and in 2021 we only had half a season. It was a 6-episode season in 2021.
Well, that's just
Do you know how long it's been since we've had a proper 13-episode season of Doctor Who?
This is why I savor my media a little bit at a time.
Jodie Whittaker's 2 seasons were only like 10 episodes long. They shorted us so much.
No, that's fair. I mean, COVID didn't help. Like, to be realistic about it, the whole having a major pandemic in like
Whittaker's first season was in 2018.
Okay, well, I was mostly talking about the specials and
yeah, wait, actually, freaking annoyed.
And Flux, yeah, I can't. I'm saying that for the ending there, COVID didn't help. I don't know why the earlier seasons were shorter. I
want to fight him. I want to fight Chris Chibnall and make him go back in time and make longer seasons. There's got to be a TARDIS around there. So I think that's enough talking about Doctor Who.
Indeed.
Oh, I can come back now. Hey, what's up?
Guess it's time for the Vomit Hat Steve challenge.
It is time for the Vomit Hat Steve challenge.
All right, we're doing the Vomit Hat Steve challenge, everybody. All right, everybody get in line here. All right, so here's the Vomit Hat Steve
kids,
challenge.
Gather around. Who wants to play dice?
Kids, gather around because we're still doing this for now. Vomit Hat Steve challenge is the part of the episode where I read a book to you, the listeners. Like, just a line of it, though, not the whole book. Because the challenge to you, the listeners, to guess what book I am reading from. If you guess correctly, you get included in the Hall of Awesome. The benefits of the Hall of Awesome are as follows. 1, I read your name aloud every episode. 2, I put your name on a kind of buried page on the website. And 3, I will make one cameo appearance in your dreams in a non-sexual way.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal.
All right?
Big.
I can't promise when it'll happen, but just at some point in one of your dreams, in a completely non-sexual context, that is also a guarantee, I will just be there giving you a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, you might be like, I don't claim it won't be a nightmare. I don't claim it'll be a good dream. It might be a good dream. You don't know. Maybe it'll be like you having to take a math test in 4th grade again, and I'll just be outside the window. The thumbs up. And that's when you remember your multiplication tables. All right. So, current members of the Hall of Awesome are, in fact, Archimite, Zero, Rena Innocenti, Cheese McDamu, Krista, Slytherin, Shameless Otaku, The Random Ramblings Man, Corfant, Capito, Chris Graham, Lilisaurus, Paper Godzilla, Cavsy, The Minnesota Librarian, Sean Orns, Kiss Shizuo, Sakura Sunset, Joel Kreisman, Patrick Delahanty, Wonderland Hearts, and Megsy Sass Council. I'm just going to open up to this page in the book. He paused at the top of the low hill overlooking the tumbling stream and scanned for the whistler. The sound seemed to be coming from the opposite bank, but the trees and heavy brush still screened the view. If you know a book that's from, go to nerdandtie.com/contact, click on the form we form, fill it out, and tell us what it is. Or if you have any other thoughts you want us to, speak words to and read aloud on the show, write us a letter there too. Again, nerdandtie.com/contact. There's a form. It's the thing. It's the thing.
Say hi to us. Tell me why I'm wrong about the Yoshiyuki Tomino OVA, Garzy's Wing.
Tell Celeste why the numbers do matter.
I cannot tell you how much I will not care.
Make Celeste care about the numbers.
I care more about whatever a Fullbringer is in Bleach, and I don't care what that is either. I want you all to know this.
Tell us your favorite Matt Smith roles.
Yeah, prove me wrong. I have not liked pretty much anything I've seen him
I
in
think he
outside
gives
of
a
Hero.
wonderful performance in Morbius.
I'm never going to watch Morbius, so I guess you're out of luck there.
Just watch the sequence where he gets dressed.
That would require me to watch Morbius, and any chance that any of my money could go to Jared Leto is a risk I can't take.
I'm sure you can find a clip of it on YouTube. He does a little dance.
Sure he does.
It's the best Sony Spider-Verse moment since the Spider-Man 3 strut.
But it's not pizza time good.
Nothing's pizza time good.
Nothing's pizza time good. I stand by that. That
Get us
Spider-Man
outta
video
here.
I did, absolutely, it wasn't a joke. That video is completely sincere. Thank you once again for joining us this month on Nerd and Tie. As always, I am Celeste.
I'm Trey Doran.
I'm getting proc.
And remember, you can subscribe to this show on Apple Podcasts. I'm going to keep screwing that up forever. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other place that greater podcasts can be distributed and listened to. And please consider rating and reviewing us on those services because it helps the algorithms show more people this nonsense, and they too can suffer with you, you having listened to it. Remember, you can support the show financially by contributing in various ways. First off, you can sponsor episodes, which again, you can go to nerdandtie.com and click on sponsor our shows and find out how. Or I've got a Patreon at patreon.com/TRAEGORN. Celeste, what's your Patreon?
That is patreon.com/CelesteIsBest.
And again, sells things under Ocelot Dude Designs. Maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Frequently.
All right. And remember, you can always follow the show on social media. We are at Nerd and Tie on Twitter, facebook.com/nerdandtie, nerdandtie.tumblr.com, and somewhere in the back of your brain, we are just like chiseling away at whatever brain cell we can, trying to communicate to you the news of times of the world. Remember, we are part of the Nerd and Tie podcast network. We do have a Discord. You can find an invite at nerdandtie.com/discord. And there are lots of other great shows you can listen to on this network, including Casual Trek, a fortnightly show where two people who are primarily other fandoms rate and review Star Trek episodes, a show which they both just kind of like. And remember, no matter how many times Miles tells you that he's like British and says something about Brighton or whatever, no, just he's from New Berlin, Wisconsin.
Miles,
the accent
I do
is
not
fake.
endorse this.
This is a scam. It's completely a scam. Charlie, the other guy on the podcast, he's actually from the UK. But Miles is secretly from New Berlin.
I do not endorse this, Miles.
In
Please
fact,
still talk
actually,
to
he
me.
told me that he thinks anyone who calls soccer football is a wussy, and he'd like to fight you.
God. Oh my God.
Yeah, so just remember, Miles is from New Berlin, and that's 100% true. Yep. Outer Milwaukee suburbs.
Keep on spocking in the free world.
And remember, reach out to Miles and ask him what it was like to grow up in New Berlin, Wisconsin. It's...
Hello.
What? You know we're still recording again, right?
My throat's a little gummed up since I horfed down that double cheeseburger while you guys were talking about Doctor Who.
Okay. The music is still playing. The show is still happening right now.
Oh, you're the one with the power to cut it off.
I am.
I was gonna say,
I am.
I can't
But I was
tell what
I was in a again, Miles is from New Berlin. I just want to make that clear. 100%. I'm being serious. This is not a bit.
This is gonna be like Robert Evans' Child Hunting Island. We're gonna have to like apologize and keep saying it's not true for like 8 episodes.
I don't remember ever apologizing for that.
It's because you're not Robert Evans.
Did you apologize for that?